Friends, before you start listening to this story, I'd like a minute of your time. Spend the next 4 or 5 minutes really paying attention to this tale. It will gently guide you towards sleep. And if you want to hear more stories like this, make sure to subscribe and like, so you never miss these calm journeys into history. Now, let's begin, taking you on a journey to another world. The days of life at sea, where every wave held the promise of a new adventure. The soft morning light spills over the deck, and you slowly lift your eyes to the sky. The air is crisp but refreshing, carrying the sound of anchors being cast off and the creaking of the ship's wheels. A gentle, almost musical rhythm. All around you, the crew moves quietly, their small tasks blending into a serene harmony. Your feet touch the cold wooden deck, feeling the texture beneath you. The new recruits slowly make their introductions, while a few have already jumped into the water for an early swim. The captain's sharp gaze meets yours for a moment, checking your readiness. But you know the rhythm of the morning will guide you, preparing you for the sails, the navigation, and the hard work ahead. The first task of the day is a rigging check. You run your hands over the ropes, feeling their texture. Soft in some places, rough and sturdy in others. The crew works silently, moving in precise coordination, each movement deliberate and purposeful. You hold a rope and watch as the sail slowly rises, the wind filling it, sending tiny splashes of water across the deck. You begin to understand how much discipline and teamwork these small routines require. Breakfast begins with the cook heating tea, and the smell of salted bread and dried fish fills the deck. The crew eats quietly. Some write in journals, while others gaze thoughtfully at the horizon. A small cat or a rat may suddenly scurry across the deck, but the experienced sailors handle it calmly. You notice that even these little moments are part of life's rhythm at sea. You move to the mast and gaze toward the horizon. The sun rises slowly, bathing the deck in golden light. The water glimmers. The sky is a soft, pale blue, and the gentle breeze touches your face. In that moment, you realize that life at sea is harsh but beautiful. Every sunrise brings new possibilities, and every wave seems to whisper the promise of adventure. As the morning progresses, the crew begins their daily work, checking sail tension, oiling ropes, scrubbing the wooden planks. Silent communication passes between them, each movement carefully timed. You slowly understand that life at sea teaches discipline, patience, and the value of teamwork. Amidst the work, you hear the occasional quiet laughter, soft humming, or old sea shanties. The sounds of water splashing, ropes rubbing, and the creaking deck create a subtle music all their own. You find yourself falling into the rhythm, blending with the sea, feeling a deep connection to the ship, the crew, and this vast, open world around you. These early morning hours are more than just work. They are a time for bonding, learning the ship's rhythm, and understanding the subtle beauty of life at sea. Every small, repetitive task, though it seems insignificant, contributes to a perfectly orchestrated journey. You glance at the captain, who nods, a silent acknowledgement that you are ready. Finally, you understand that the cold breeze, the faint sounds, and the golden light together create a memory you will never forget. This early morning, this quiet rhythm, is preparing you for the adventures that lie ahead, opening the doors to the endless possibilities that the sea holds. As the morning work begins to settle into its rhythm, you find yourself drawn toward the small corner of the deck where the cook prepares breakfast. The smell of salted bread, dried fish, and occasionally a thin gruel rises into the crisp air, mingling with the scent of the sea itself. You realize, almost immediately, how essential these humble rations are, both for nourishment and for the mental fortitude required to face endless days on the waves. Life at sea is defined by routine, and mealtimes are no exception. Each sailor is allotted a measured portion: a few slices of hard bread, a small piece of salted meat, perhaps some dried peas or beans if the voyage is fortunate. Fresh water is scarce and precious, carefully distributed and rationed. You notice the discipline required not just to survive, but to ensure that everyone aboard has enough to sustain them. There is no room for waste. Every morsel is accounted for, every sip of water conserved. You watch the crew eat in quiet concentration, some gnawing on their bread while others sip their thin gruel with a resigned patience. Conversation is minimal, though occasionally a soft laugh or whispered remark breaks the silence. Even in these small, ordinary moments, you sense the bonds forming between them, a shared reliance on one another to endure the hardships of the sea. Each sailor knows that their survival depends not only on their own strength, but on the careful stewardship of provisions for the entire crew. You take a piece of bread into your hand, feeling its rough texture, and chew slowly, savoring the taste despite its dryness. It is simple, unremarkable, yet somehow comforting. A constant in a world of constant motion. You realize that these rations, meager though they may be, provide more than physical sustenance. They are a reminder of routine, of order, of the tiny anchors of stability that keep life aboard from descending into chaos. Salted meat and dried fish are tougher, sometimes requiring a practiced hand to soften or cut into manageable pieces. You watch an older sailor carefully slice his portion with a small, worn knife, the movements efficient, almost ritualistic. There is pride in this skill, and respect from the younger crew who quietly observe. Eating becomes more than nourishment. It is a lesson in patience, in resourcefulness, in the quiet mastery of daily life under challenging conditions. The cook, a sturdy man with weathered hands and a permanent squint from the sun, moves steadily among the sailors, distributing the hot gruel or small jugs of water. Occasionally, he pauses to give advice or a sharp reminder. Drink slowly. Don't waste it. And each word carries weight. Even this simple act of providing sustenance is an exercise in leadership, a quiet assertion of authority and care combined. You notice that during meals, the crew often share small tokens of conversation. Perhaps a sailor recounts a memory of a port they visited months ago, describing a fruit or treat they once had. The words are few, the stories brief, but they provide a flicker of light in the monotony of long voyages. Through these exchanges, you sense a subtle morale at work. Meals are not only physical fuel, but emotional support, helping the crew endure the isolation and uncertainty that stretches ahead. Occasionally, a rat or stray bird attempts to claim a morsel, prompting soft curses and swift, practiced movements to shoo them away. These interruptions are minor, almost comical, yet they remind you of the constant, small struggles that punctuate life at sea. Every task, from eating to cleaning, is performed with awareness, precision, and sometimes a touch of humor. The monotony is broken not by extravagance, but by these little unexpected moments. As you continue to eat, your gaze drifts across the deck and toward the horizon. The smell of the sea mixes with the food, creating a strangely comforting combination. You realize that even the simplest of meals feels richer here, framed by the vast openness around you, the gentle rocking of the ship, and the knowledge that every bite is earned. You feel a connection to the countless sailors who have come before, all sharing the same humble fare, while chasing distant horizons. By the time breakfast concludes, the crew has eaten in a rhythm that feels almost meditative. Each sailor tidies their area, washes the few dishes they have, and prepares for the next tasks. The simple act of eating has become a ritual, a stabilizing force in the ever-changing life aboard the ship. You feel a sense of calm settle over you, as if this quiet sustenance has not only nourished your body, but also steadied your mind. And as you step away from the small corner of the deck where meals are shared, the ship feels alive around you. The ropes, the sails, the gentle lapping of water against the hull, they all seem to hum with a subtle energy. You carry the warmth and reassurance of the morning meal with you, ready to face the day ahead, to hoist the sails, to navigate the unknown, and to find strength in the simple routines that sustain life on the open sea. As the morning routines settle into a rhythm, you begin to notice the invisible structure that holds the ship together. Life at sea is far from casual. Every sailor has a place, every task a purpose, and every order carries weight. The hierarchy on a ship is subtle but firm, a silent web that ensures survival, discipline, and smooth sailing even in the face of uncertainty. At the very top is the captain, whose gaze sweeps the deck with quiet authority. You sense his presence in every decision, every command, and even in the calm way he moves across the deck. There is no need for shouting or dramatics. The crew responds, because they trust his experience, and because they understand that his word is law. Even the slightest nod or gesture from him sets a chain of action in motion, a choreography of efficiency that has been honed over countless voyages. Below the captain are the officers, each responsible for a portion of the ship and a set of sailors. They give instructions, oversee tasks, and ensure that the ship functions as one unit. You watch an officer move along the deck, checking ropes, directing sailors, making sure sails are properly hoisted. His movements are deliberate, his eyes attentive to every detail. You notice how the crew shifts seamlessly in response to his guidance, as if each sailor instinctively knows their role and position. The sailors themselves form the heart of the ship, each carrying out specialized duties. Some handle the rigging, adjusting sails to catch the wind just so. Others work the deck, scrubbing wood, repairing planks, or ensuring the anchor is secure. There are those assigned to navigation, charting courses, and making calculations that determine the safety and direction of the entire vessel. Watching them, you sense a kind of quiet pride in their labor. Each action, though repetitive, is essential, and each sailor understands the value of their contribution. Even within these roles, there are subtler distinctions. The more experienced sailors mentor the younger recruits, offering guidance without words. Through gestures and patient demonstration, you notice a young sailor fumbling with a knot, and a seasoned hand moves beside him, quietly correcting the technique, showing rather than telling. There is a rhythm to these interactions, a flow of knowledge passed down silently from one generation of seafarers to the next. Life at sea demands obedience, but it also requires initiative. While the hierarchy is firm, every sailor must be alert, ready to respond to unforeseen challenges. A sudden squall, a snapped rope, a misbehaving sail, all require immediate action. You realize that the chain of command is not merely about authority, but about trust. Trust that each person knows their duties, that each person will act for the good of the crew and the ship. At mealtimes, you notice the same structure subtly reflected in the small interactions around the deck. Officers eat first, sailors follow, and the younger recruits wait patiently for their portion. It is a small ritual, yet it reinforces the hierarchy that maintains order. Even in such mundane moments, the importance of structure and respect is evident. Every sailor, from the newest deckhand to the most seasoned officer, understands their place and carries out their duties with a sense of responsibility. Yet, for all its rigidity, there is a humanity beneath the hierarchy. You see laughter shared among friends, quiet encouragement, and small acts of camaraderie. The chain of command is not a barrier, but a framework that allows trust, efficiency, and even moments of shared joy to flourish. In the midst of harsh conditions and endless labor, these human connections give the crew the strength to endure. You watch the captain, the officers, and the sailors as they work together, and you begin to understand the delicate balance that keeps the ship alive. It is not just discipline or authority. It is a living system, responsive, adaptive, and yet perfectly structured. Each member of the crew is both a cog in a machine and a vital individual, and you sense the subtle harmony that makes long voyages possible. As the morning unfolds, the roles become more than tasks. They become identities. A sailor is not merely someone who pulls ropes or scrubs the deck. He is a navigator, a craftsman, a guardian of the ship. You begin to feel yourself blending into this hierarchy, observing, learning, absorbing the subtle lessons of responsibility, patience, and teamwork. The ship itself seems almost alive, moving in response to the coordinated effort of every individual aboard. Even moments of tension are handled with care. When orders are shouted during drills, there is a measured urgency in the crew's response. Never chaos, never panic. You realize that this structure, this hierarchy, is what allows them to face storms, navigate unknown waters, and endure months at sea without succumbing to disorder. It is both a shield and a guide, shaping the behavior, decisions, and ultimately the survival of everyone aboard. By the time the sun rises higher, you have come to appreciate the rhythm and elegance of this system. The hierarchy, so firm and invisible at once, is what turns a collection of individuals into a living, breathing crew. You feel a quiet respect for each sailor, from the captain, who commands with calm authority, to the newest recruit learning the ropes, literally and figuratively. And as the ship glides across the early morning waves, you carry with you a newfound understanding that life at sea is a blend of discipline and cooperation, structure and trust. Every knot tied, every sail adjusted, every order followed is part of a larger story. A story of survival, adventure, and the quiet heroism of those who live and work upon the open waters. As the day progresses and the morning chores settle into their rhythm, your attention turns outward, to the endless expanse of ocean surrounding the ship. The horizon stretches endlessly, a line where sky meets water, and you feel both awe and a quiet, nervous anticipation. Life at sea is not just about hard work. It is about understanding, reading, and navigating this vast, unpredictable world. Sailors rely on knowledge passed down through generations. You notice the charts and maps carefully unrolled on a small table, inked lines and symbols representing distant lands, unknown waters, and treacherous shoals. Each mark tells a story, a warning, a memory of voyages past. You reach out to touch the worn edges of the parchment, feeling the history embedded in its folds, the countless hands that have studied it before you. The instruments used for navigation are simple yet vital. A compass rests in the officer's hand, spinning slowly until it points firmly north. You watch the sextant, an elegant, delicate tool, raised to the sky as the officer measures the sun's angle. Your heart beats faster as you realize how much depends on these calculations. One misread measurement could send the ship far off course. Yet, there is calm in the procedure, a meditation of numbers, angles, and careful observation. You begin to understand how sailors read the sky, the stars, and the patterns of the waves. Clouds and wind direction tell secrets about upcoming weather. The sun's rising and setting provide clues to position and timing. Every ripple and swell whispers information to those trained to listen. You imagine the countless hours spent scanning the horizon, learning to anticipate the ocean's moods, a quiet conversation between sailor and sea. Even the smallest details are crucial. A subtle change in water color, the smell of distant land carried on the breeze, the behavior of seabirds, all provide clues about nearby coastlines or hidden hazards. You feel a sense of wonder at this intimate knowledge of the natural world, honed through experience, necessity, and keen observation. It is a skill as much as it is an art. The officers move calmly among the crew, giving instructions, checking positions, and ensuring that everyone is prepared for the challenges ahead. You see sailors adjusting sails in response to subtle shifts in wind, plotting the ship's course with quiet precision. The teamwork is seamless, almost silent, a dance choreographed by years of training and the steady hand of experience. You realize that navigating the seas is not a solitary task. It requires constant cooperation, trust, and awareness of the collective effort. Despite the discipline, there is an undercurrent of curiosity and excitement. Every new landmark, every distant ship spotted on the horizon, is a moment of discovery. You notice the excitement in the younger sailors' eyes as they point toward a cluster of clouds or a glimmer of light far away. The ocean, vast and daunting, also holds endless possibilities, and each day brings the promise of new adventures. Nightfall brings another layer of challenge and beauty. The stars emerge, countless pinpricks of light against a deep velvet sky. You watch as sailors use constellations to maintain their bearings, plotting courses that could span thousands of miles. The quiet of the night amplifies the subtle creaking of the ship, the gentle lap of waves, and the soft murmur of the crew. You feel a deep sense of connection to those who have navigated these waters before, guided by nothing but stars, maps, and intuition. And yet, despite the calm, there is always vigilance. Navigation is not a guarantee. It is preparation, knowledge, and adaptability combined. You sense the tension beneath the serene routine, the awareness that a single mistake could lead to disaster. This awareness sharpens the mind, keeps senses alert, and teaches humility in the face of the vast, unpredictable sea. By the time the sun begins its descent, you have absorbed the rhythm of navigation. You understand that the ocean is both teacher and challenge, that charts, instruments, and stars are guides, not absolutes. You feel the responsibility carried by each sailor, each officer, and the captain, all moving in harmony to ensure the ship's safe passage. As you lean against the rail and watch, the waves stretch endlessly into the horizon. A quiet calm washes over you. Navigating the seas is more than just skill. It is patience, observation, and trust, not only in the tools and knowledge at hand, but also in the collective strength of the crew. The vast expanse of water becomes less intimidating and more intimate, a world of possibility and discovery, ready to unfold with each passing day. You carry this understanding with you as the ship glides forward, the wind filling the sails, the waves guiding the hull, and your own heartbeat syncing with the subtle rhythm of life at sea. Every measurement, every adjustment, every glance at the horizon is part of a living, breathing navigation, a conversation between humanity and the ocean itself. And in this, you feel both humbled and exhilarated. ready for whatever adventures lie just beyond the next horizon.